I'm Danielle, Jade's mom. Jade was born on January 30th, 2010. When he was born, he wasn't breathing, and we found out that the cord was a little bit wrapped around his neck. So the neonatal intensive care team rushed into our room. And that was a pretty scary moment. From then on, we learned they thought Jade may have had some kind of infection or something along those lines. But it turns out that he didn't have an infection at all. And on the second day of Jade's life is when he started having apneic spells or seizure-like events. He wasn't breathing, so the nurses had to stimulate him to get him to breathe. And then from that point, they called in the pediatric neurologist, and they started doing EEGs, and things like that. The neurologist was actually able to get an apneic spell on the EEG, so that's when they realized that Jade was having seizures, and he was given phenobarb right away to control the seizures. After that, we had a series of different kind of tests to see exactly what was wrong with Jade. At that time, we knew that there was something wrong with his brain, but we weren't exactly sure what it was. The next day he had an MRI, and he was put on a portable ventilator for the MRI because they were concerned he would stop breathing during the procedure. So he was on that for a day. He had the MRI, and then the next day he had an MRA to see if there was any bleeding in his neck at all. So it was about the third day, it was a Monday, that we learned that Jade had a stroke in utero. And he has a significant damage to the left side of his brain, so that affects the right side of his body. Jade was in the NICU for 2 weeks. He got out on the 13th of February, so the day before Valentine's Day last year. And throughout this time, Jade has been to the hospital numerous times. He's had follow-up EEGs. He's seen Dr. Krasinski to see if he has any type of bleeding disorders or anything that could have caused the stroke. And as of right now, we are still not sure what caused the stroke. We learned that 1 in 4,000 babies are born with stroke or have stroke after they're born. So that was some facts that we didn't know about stroke and things like that. But it turns out that, we were in the right place, and AmeriCare was here to help us. After we left the NICU, they followed us the whole time. It was about when Jade was 4 months old that he started therapy. He started OT right away. We learned that his hand wasn't functioning fully, his right hand. He would kind of leave it limp into his side. So we started OT. We started it once a week, and from there we progressed to twice a week. And now he is doing wonderfully. He now can move his right hand. He uses it together with his left hand. And before, like I said, he would just kind of leave it limp and toward his side. He also started PT, which is physical therapy, and he's now doing that twice a week. He started crawling at 11.5 months, and he's also talking. And these were some of the things that's on the left side of the brain that they weren't sure if Jade would ever do, like talk and walk and crawl and things like that. So he's come a long way in a year. He is crawling. He crawled at 11.5 months. He's talking, all the normal baby stuff, mom, dad. We have a dog, so when we say, what does she say, he says ruff ruff. And he's just, progressing more than anyone would have ever thought. And they told us that, he might not do things. But like the doctor in the NICU told me when Jade had the seizure, she said that, he may live a normal life, and you just have to believe that and don't let anyone tell you anything differently. So that's what we've been doing this whole year. We've just been believing that he's going to live a normal life and that everything's going to be okay. And so far, he is progressing and doing amazingly well.
Can you just kind of talk about, why it's important to donate to the Children's Hospital?
Yeah, it's definitely important. Like when we were in the NICU, the portable ventilator Jade used had a sticker on it from the Children's Miracle Network that was donated by the hospital through the For Kids Radiothon. And, without that, we might not have been able to send Jade down for an MRI because he might have stopped breathing while he was there, and no one could go in the MRI with him, so that's why they were so concerned about it. And it's just important, all the little things that the kids get to do. Like when Jade had blood draws at Dr. Krasinski's, they were able to send child life specialists down to kind of distract Jade. He had to have quite a bit of blood drawn out of him to see if he had any type of bleeding disorder. And it was nice to have them there to help us and to help Jade get through that. And just every little thing they did for us. before we left the NICU, they made hand molds of Jade for a present for us for Valentine's Day. And we still see those doctors. So, you know, they go above and beyond, and they don't ever just leave you. You know, they're always there for a reference, or, you know, if you need them, and they're going to follow Jade throughout his life. So it's just important to have a hospital like that in Fargo-Moorhead, or else we would be traveling to Minneapolis or Detroit or places like that to get the care we need for Jade, and we can get that care right here. So that's amazing.